more seconds. All right, and we're live. Hey, Daniel, what's up?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I finally got Wi-Fi in my new apartment in Vietnam. So that's taking a huge weight off my shoulders. Daniel and I, by the way, we were chatting. For everyone who's viewing in from YouTube, we were chatting earlier. For the time being, guys, if you are on YouTube, you can chat and do everything, but I will essentially ignore you guys because I want to focus 100% on what's in front of me, well, what's in front of me and Daniel. And today, the sort of general outline is we're going to go and get our initial thoughts sort of like sorted out through this planning document that we have in front of us. So I'm going to ask Daniel to fill out these questions, and then we're going to just do very general, like identifying of what Daniel wants. And then after that, we're going to go right into the essay. At that point, I'll be timing myself to try to give all my feedback within 30 minutes. So we'll just do that over there. All right, so here we go. Daniel, yeah, you've already started. Good, it's good. You can just get started. I am kind of curious what you do like about what you've written so far. This helps me to make sure that when I suggest edits or revisions, like I'm not like cutting out what you think is like the heart of the essay. You know, sometimes that's a very important conversation when you think something is the heart of the essay and I think it's unnecessary. You know that's a very important conversation to have. So I really want you to kind of delineate that up front. Okay. What don't you like about what you've written so far? This will obviously connect to kind of where I should focus or where you want me to focus. Okay. Can we go back to question number one, Daniel, real quick? Are you okay there?
Sure. Yeah.
With question number one, you you should be able to. Let me just test something here. Okay, with question number one, you should be able to. Uh, like, is there an episode or a specific like sentence, a specific detail, a specific little anecdote or anything like that that you like really like in your essay? Like
Yeah,
you're
there
happy about
is.
it? Okay, can you detail that here? Because that'll help me before I
Uh,
read the thing.
just like copy paste it or.
Oh no, just no. You just summarize it. Like actually,
Oh, I
copy and
see.
pasting would be less helpful. You expressing it in your own words is actually more helpful. And what kind of imagery was that, Daniel?
I just verbally say it or write it down.
You can verbally say it if you want. I guess we're kind of hybrid now that I think about it.
Yeah, it was. I was describing the smell of cardboard boxes sealed with fresh packaging tape. The anticipated car ride with my dad to the post office, and the satisfying notification on my phone when an item was sold.
Okay, 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 okay. And what did you sell? What did you sell? It's okay to tell me the story before I read it.
Yeah, custom keyboards.
Okay. Very geeky of you. Very like geek chic of you. Okay, it's like, all
Yeah.
right. Custom keyboards. Okay, cool. And is this something you actually built, or it was something you're just selling as like a project?
Um, they're not like fully uh like built up from the ground. I bought the case and everything, but I bought the a general case or one of those kits, and then I put my own keycaps on them and my own switches and sold them
Okay,
under my own
okay,
brand.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, dude. That's you're very what's the word? You take initiative, and you're also sort of like you're a builder. You like actually like tinker, and you actually build stuff. That's good. My brother was actually a lot like that. He would like one of the things he sold when he was in high school was um, he bought pieces of wood, and then he would like steam them, and he would turn them into bows, like bows and arrows bows, and he would sell them. He would sell he would sell them on eBay, which to me is insane, because he would make like $80 off of one of these bows. It was so stupid, it's so crazy. But yeah, I mean, but you're a builder. You're a builder. You make stuff. Um, let's go. Let's go to the second question. You said you don't love the language, especially in the conclusion, but also the structure. Those feel like two different ideas, and and my question is, are they two different ideas? And if so, what can you like kind of elaborate on each, like one sentence each?
But yeah, just all in all, I think the conclusion is where it needs the most work because it was kind of rushed, and I feel like that's the conclusion is the one that leaves the final. Um,
Can I make a guess here? You're actually rushing to squeeze everything within 650 words.
um, it's less of that, more it's like I want to end with a good idea, like maybe another anecdote or a callback to something I referenced earlier in the essay, something like that. Because I feel like it's a bit cliche where I have it.
So it's not like you have too many ideas and you're trying to squeeze them all into 650 words. It's just you wrote something, and maybe this was, is this conclusion the same conclusion you had in your first draft?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so the conclusion has essentially not changed since your first draft. And how long ago did you write your first draft?
Ooh, I want to say um,
You know what, I'm gonna keep this part after
this
you.
summer.
Somewhere this summer. Okay. So kept the same first draft conclusion since summer. And it sounds like then you never had a competing draft for, like you never had a second idea for this essay, which I think is the Common App main essay, yes?
This is a personal statement.
Personal statement. Okay, so you're keeping the same first draft since the summer. Plus, you also didn't have like a competing draft. Like you didn't have two different essays that could have been the personal statement with two different like, what do you call it? Like two different candidates for your personal statement.
Right.
One was talking about the selling experience, another one was talking about your soccer experience or anything like that. It wasn't like that, right? This is the one since the beginning. Okay. And if I remember, you've already also done several revisions of this. Can you kind of roughly tell me how many revisions you think you're into?
The structure remains pretty much the same from the first draft as it is right now, but like I've went over it, I'd say three times. Like went over three separate revisions of like
Okay.
just fixing up the language and
And
yeah.
it was solo independent revisions.
No, one was with my sister and the other was with one of my SAT tutors.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think that okay, that gives me some. so I can, when I start looking at these things, when I know how much work went into it, it helps me to guess what the journey was, and like what the ideas could have been before or after, even though you didn't really write it. So this is really helpful for me. Okay, so I think I get it. You really, if I could spend 30 minutes and mainly just focus on the conclusion, even you would be pretty happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
If the conclusion felt like after our diagnostic, if you felt like you had a couple ideas of like, wow, I can make this conclusion pop a little bit more if I just do A or B. That would make my conclusion pop a little bit more, and that would be good. That would be kind of like the main problem you're trying to solve today.
Right. But I don't try not to like take my words to just take them with a grain of salt because I don't want you going in with any like confirmation bias. Just I
No,
want
for
you
sure, for
to
sure. I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
oftentimes my diagnostic is pretty different from what the students think. They're self-diagnostic,
Yeah,
but
that's what yeah.
yes. So I want you to know that that's a separate process. Yeah, but I want you to. So a lot of times students don't even have a self-diagnostic, and what happens if they don't have a self-diagnostic before they go in, is they. I mean, it could. There's different ways that this go, but one way is you could get kind of overwhelmed, like, whoa, what the hell? It's so different. And I wasn't ready for any of this. Another thing is you could just like not learn anything. You're just like, I'll just, you could be sort of zombie-like. You're like, okay, I'll just do whatever Saul says. And that doesn't actually make you a better writer, or it doesn't even necessarily lead to a better outcome, because oftentimes it's the tension between what you think and what someone else thinks that makes your essay better. It's not just following what other people say. That will not necessarily make your essay better. It would be very hard for you to write something just based on what someone else is saying. So you do need your self-diagnostic before I give you mine, if you want to have a productive time with this. So
Yeah.
now I'm pretty happy with questions 1 and 2. If you feel like I'm understanding you 100%, then we can move on.
Yeah.
Okay, number 3. What changes are you considering? So what are the ideas, the editing ideas? Like if you didn't have me, what are the things you would maybe consider doing on your own? Okay, that's
Just with
good.
terms here,
You're thinking
do
very
you know?
structurally. You're thinking very structurally.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any other alternative ideas, even if they sound a little crazy or even a little embarrassing right now? Any other ideas that you're considering?
Um,
Okay, you kind of think the essay might be sexier if it wasn't straight chronological.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Any
I think that's
inspiration for
pretty much
that,
it.
by the way? Is there a background? Where did you get that idea from?
The chronological idea.
Yeah.
I feel like that's probably just me thinking that, overthinking the essays, thinking that they have to be super um profound or something like that.
And just to make sure I'm catching your meaning, you're thinking it might be more profound if it's achronological or if it is chronological.
Um, that it's not like there's a unique structure to it, and it flows well off that. Not just
Okay,
like
yeah. If it's
describing
not
the
chronological, I
progression.
see. Okay. Okay, yeah, yeah. So it's not a specific inspiration. You didn't like see some essay somewhere else in the world where you're like, wow, that was an impressive essay. I want to copy that or anything like that.
No, not really.
You don't remember like a classmate or anybody. Okay, then okay, that's good for that question. All right, so those are 2 ideas that you have. I'll tell you my opinion on those 2 ideas after I read. Let's go to number 4. By the way, Martlet, just shouting out, Martlet. Quick answer is yes. Quick answer is yes, but you have to be pretty good at writing. That's great. That's really great, Daniel, what you're writing.
Yeah.
We want to convey your passion, and we want to have your conclusion sort of pop. Like you want
Yeah.
it to sort of stick in their mind. Now, I'll let you know if that's actually where your problems are. Maybe your problems are somewhere totally like somewhere else. Today, since I'm doing a 30-minute diagnostic, I will not be doing. I will not be doing a lot of direct editing, although I might, throw in a couple words here and there, but like that will not be my primary focus. My primary focus will be reading for the structure of the thing and seeing different ways you can sequence it. Maybe you can make it achronological with purpose. You don't want to make it seem like superfluous, just like some random thing you just did. But we can talk about some of that. We can also and then basically just come back to a conclusion. Okay, so I'll be not primarily focusing on the editing. I'll be focusing more on the revising in the sense of like looking at the overall structure. Any questions?
No, sounds good.
All right, and so do you agree to share your essay on the stream? You said yes. I think we're good to go. Samuel and Martlet from the YouTube stream, these are the last questions I'll be answering, because after this time, I will actually start time and I will not be paying attention whatsoever to the YouTube chat, okay? So will I be doing this session again, Martlet is saying? I am willing to do this session. It is a paid session. If you come into the Discord server, if somebody else signs up, I am happy to do this again. Samuel, did I take the maid test at Tenafly? I did take the maid test at Tenafly. Given your last name, given the regional demographics of Tenafly, I assume you also were there at Tenafly's. If so, what's up? I was the one adult that was there. Okay, so now guys, I'm about to get started. Daniel, any last questions before we get started on this time? Or a piece of feedback from me?
Yeah, I feel like you're going in with a good idea, so I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with. I have a pretty clear idea of what I think I'm looking for, so I think we can get started now. I'm just gonna start my timer. My timer, by the way, Daniel, is not gonna be visible to you, so just you can just watch the clock if you want, but it's a thing. It'll be there, okay, but it won't be visible to you, okay? All right, I'm about to start time. Here we go. Oh, I need edit access. Can you give me edit access? I'm gonna start reading, but yeah, please give me edit access. And when you've given it to me, I'll refresh this page.
Done. Yep.
Okay. So I'm kind of curious. I'm just gonna think out loud, so you're not misreading my comments. But I'm just kind of curious. What was the background for this? Why'd you have to sell? Is it because you're moving or something? And this whole this so satisfying notification that just like is summarized, it actually could be turned into a whole story of its own. It could be an anecdote altogether, technically. Um, if it's worth it, and we'd have to decide whether it's worth it or not. I don't know if the background for the video games. Ooh, what? How top? Like, I think even though they might not be gamers, there's actually there's a non-zero chance that your admissions officer is going to be a gamer. That enhancing this could be key. Because the thing is, when you're selling a keyboard, you wanna like, that's where a lot of the details are. It's like why it's important to buy one. So I have thoughts going all over the place right now. So I'll tell you, I'll kind of sort it all out after I read. But for now, I'm just gonna go stream of consciousness. Ooh, electric. Okay, tactility, acoustic. But like, I'm assuming the clicking, clacking, right? Like, what are we talking about the acoustic masterpiece? I'm assuming you're talking about the clacking. Which transformation? Okay, there could be more impact here. I feel the feeling, but the actual the visual and sensory impact is actually, like, I can feel your emotion, but and that's good. That's really good. It's better than when I can't feel any emotion. But this is still like, I feel like the scene isn't fully fleshed yet. So, flesh. I'm just gonna type flesh for now. I'm gonna come back to this later. Okay, you're maybe condensing. Your first experience. This actually already is not chronological. Okay, you already sort of jumped to. By this point, you already sort of jumped to kind of like almost not the present, but you jumped to some extent, and now you're backtracking, and then you're going back to your first experience. Unless I'm misreading. But I see why you might want to condense this. It's because it feels a little mechanical, no pun intended. It feels like you're just sort of kind of telling the story for the story's sake, but not like nothing's really happening. So I can see why you want to condense this. What questions went into this? What challenges, right? So just thinking about the process there. Right now I'm watching Better Call Saul again. It's like a masterpiece of TV, and Better Call Saul does montages really well, where any other director would never spend like 5 whole minutes watching somebody take down a car. But Better Call Saul, Vince Gilligan and that production team, they would literally spend 5 minutes out of your TV time just watching somebody take down a car, break it down into pieces. You cannot hear me right now? Okay. And that's something that actually, as a writer, you want to be able to be doing, and make people feel interested in your process. And so I was thinking, like, well, this process of selling could be the main focus here. So these details. Oh, you have a storefront? It must be like a Shopify storefront. It's not like you don't have like real estate, do you? Like a physical brick and mortar. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the reason the conclusion doesn't hit is because the part. Okay, here's my guess. You really like this part. And then starting over here, you're like, I'm a little lost. Like, what am I supposed to write? That's kind of my that's my impression right now. Is this true?
The streams are is a bit delayed. Which parts are you referring to?
Okay, let's do that again. Yeah. So over here, I just and you are looking at your document. Yes, you're looking at your document while I'm kind of jumping around.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, I can share with you my screen. Would that be more helpful?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, give me a sec. Just need to move it. Oh no, you're. Oh, okay. Oh, there was a problem because it got crashed. I was showing you the wrong screen the whole time. Okay, well, let me make sure that I'm gonna just double check Discord. You're not seeing my screen right now, but you should be able to see my screen. Okay, cool. So you should be able to see my screen, correct? From Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, and my little face will be there, but besides that, it shouldn't be too distracting, correct? Okay.
Yes.
So right now, my guess is that you're really happy with this part, and then that's kind of where you spent all your energy and passion, because over here you're like I need to get to the conclusion somehow, but so I'm gonna do like sort of the dry details that are necessary for the conclusion, but I don't really know what I'm doing over here. Is this accurately reflecting your process?
Um, Maybe not the process, but the feeling is still the same.
Okay, the feeling is like that. Okay, so I actually will need a little more time to figure out how to put this all together because this is actually the reason your conclusion is weak is not because the conclusion wording itself. The more you change the language of the conclusion, the better your essay does not become. Okay, it will stay stuck there. It doesn't matter how pretty your rims are, okay? If your engine is not running, your car will still not run, okay? So we need to work on the engine, not the rims. Over here, the language here is not going to change anything. The problem is all here. This is where the problem is. So now I have to like kind of figure out exactly what the problem is. So I'm going to need some time, but I will be thinking out loud to the extent that I can, so that you at least can follow my thought process, okay? Let me see. Where is the heart in this? The heart in this story, from what I can tell, is in the it's complicated because it's conflicted here. Part of the heart is just the excitement of the keyboard itself. Okay? The keyboard itself is exciting. So this might sound too dramatic, but I'm going to start with this. My gut feeling says the heart is part one, the excitement about the keyboard and like how dope it is to have your own keyboard. Then there's a second bit of excitement that doesn't get transitioned to very clearly. It actually gets transitioned to in reverse order. The excitement of selling things, right? But the weird thing is, I don't know why you're selling these things at all, right? I have no idea why you're selling it at all. It wasn't triggered by a move. There's no motivation. So that makes it hard to understand where this is coming from. And so I don't fully know you when I read this. It's just like these experiences which like kind of glimmer on the surface, but like why? So then for me, I think the most basic way of structuring this is start your story at the very beginning, first paragraph. You're right in the scene. You're in a montage, okay? montage. If you don't know what that is, you can do some YouTube search. You can take some notes down right now, and you can do some YouTube searches. Look for montages, famous montages in cinema, or something like that, and just do a quick montage. Okay, like write little sketches. Okay, like a sort of collage if you've done collages in art, of like little details of like building that first keyboard or something like that. After you get that excitement of the keyboard out of the way, I really need to know what's in your life, what was the thing that made you even want to sell these things in the first place? Now, maybe chronologically, you actually started selling first and then you stumbled onto a keyboard, in which case I think it's okay to do it chronologically. Start with the keyboard, then kind of do some rewind and back up to like why you started selling stuff in the first place. But then you're like, this is it. The keyboard is it. This is the thing that I actually can sell. And then the second montage would be like the detailing of the process of branding. Earlier you had this. What happened over here? Like these details. Like at first when you write it all out and when you list it out, when you first write it, it might sound extremely boring, okay? But if you can recall the feeling that you felt of how interesting it was, moving your logo around on the page, choosing the perfect photo, choosing the perfect word, the one line sort of description of what you are, and sorting through different photos, maybe even taking different photos of your mechanical keyboard, in different lighting conditions, and to like let the backlight show through or whatever, right? And stuff like that. You messing with Photoshop for the first time in your life, right? Like some of those details there, right here, all of those details are elided. You just sort of skip over them all in how many words is this? I mean, you literally, this is what, like 32 words. 32 words. You just skip over that whole process. The part that I think the heart of this essay should be this part, right? Because you're trying to show the passion that you have for selling things, but it's all just being contained in these 32 words, plus sort of referred to back in these like 95 words over here. And I don't know if that's giving the oomph that you need. So you start with a lot of momentum over here. But you lose it all. Okay, you lose it all by this point. So then when you get to the conclusion, there's no more gas, so there's no real pop to your conclusion. My summary version of everything I just said is, I think we need to get the excitement about the keyboard out of the way, because that's more of an accessory. Okay, it's just a tool for you. And we really need to put your excitement for the selling process center stage. That's my summary so far. What are you thinking at this moment? Like, what are some of the pros and cons of everything I've said? Starting with the parts that you like. Out of everything I've said, what do you like?
Like you going into the yeah, I should definitely expound upon the selling details. Because I didn't mention them in the second paragraph about the using those specific details, but I feel like from then on it's just a mundane description.
Okay.
So I like that, yeah.
Let me try doing a real fast chop job, okay? Just to show you what it could look like, okay? This is obviously not going to be anywhere close to a final draft, but I'm going to start doing this right now just so you can see some of your options here. Oh, first though, can I get some basic biographical detail? Like, when did you start selling and why? So it was when you were 12 apparently, but why?
Well, they were just items, usually items in my basement that were not being used anymore.
Okay.
They were really dusty and just old, so I just took them to the sink, washed them all, and then, well, in my head, it was a logical
Do you
decision.
remember, was this summer vacation? Were you just like bored out of your mind? Like, what was the thing that was going through you?
I really couldn't tell you. I don't really remember when it started,
Okay.
like the exact moment.
Okay. Maybe it'll come to you sometime in the future. For now, we're just gonna work with that, okay? But like, that would be interesting. You being bored out of your mind would be an alternative essay where you're bored out of your mind. It's summer. Your parents are, I don't know, at work, and you're just like the fuck? And so you just go to you go to the attic, and like you're like digging things up, and it's like, why not sell it? And you don't even get your parents' permission. You just sell it without their permission, and then you get into trouble. That could be another angle, okay, a different way of going with this story. But again, you'd have to sort of remind yourself what the heck happened. You might even have to ask your parents what happened to figure out that angle. So I'm going to just leave that alone. Okay, that's a different. By the way, I strongly recommend that you take notes, just because it might not be. I guess with YouTube, you could actually go back and rewatch this. So maybe you don't have to take notes, but I still strongly recommend taking notes because it saves you time. But that's a different angle. Okay, a different angle is like starting with like the genesis, the initial inception of the passion for selling. But that's a whole different angle. I'm going to come back to the original angle that I was kind of going for. And when you first built a mechanical keyboard, when you first unboxed this mechanical keyboard, how old were you roughly? Chronologically.
Ooh,
How many? It was definitely not when you were 12, right? It was later.
yeah, I think 14, 15.
Okay, not much later though. It's like 8th grade, ninth grade-ish.
Actually earlier, maybe 13.
Maybe 13, maybe 8th grade. So maybe like right away. Okay. And how did you get this keyboard? Did you have to get your parents to buy it for you? You had to persuade them? Like what happened? Like you
I
saved the
used
money?
the money I made on eBay.
Oh, you
I think I
invested the
mentioned that,
fruit
yeah.
into the peripheral. And that was a little metaphorical. So when I read it, I didn't see it right away. Okay.
For like a
But you are
farmer
going,
in that.
huh? Go ahead.
I was going for like, I don't know, I thought something cool would just be describing my video game stuff. I went for like a farmer metaphor, like budding
Yeah.
interest, and I think you intended. Or-
Oh, it's funny that you use the word budding interest as a farmer metaphor because it's such a cliche that it's hard to revive that. But then when you take the budding interest, it grew, and then you tended it, you grew it. I was reading it a little fast, but I see it now. Unfortunately, all of those metaphorical words are actually extremely common words as well. They're extremely cliched out, so they're sort of the metaphorical meaning isn't really. All of these cliches together are not powerful enough to take it and make an imprint an actual image, because unfortunately this set of words is extremely cliched. So there are some ways that you can some things we can do to kind of revive it and make it an actual image. So honestly, just get rid of budding interest. As at the same time my interest was budding was budding, and that automatically breaks the cliche a little bit, and now it starts feeling a little bit more like, oh, it's budding. It's like budding. It grew into skill. But anyway, so there's some techniques that we can employ to make sure that this image actually conveys. But you are investing the fruit back into, and this investing the fruit is, by the way, not a concrete image, which also it falls back into cliche territory, and then it makes it really hard to see the fruit. Like, how do you invest fruit? What does that even mean, right? So you have to plant the fruit back in, something like that, if you want to stick with the farmer metaphor. Anyway, I did not catch it personally when I was reading it, and I suspect that when college application readers read this quickly, they may also not catch it, but there are some ways to make sure they catch it, okay? That's a different thing. I'm not going to focus too much on this because this is a language thing, and right now I'm trying to focus on structure, okay? Could be improved by kind of dismantling the cliches, dismantling and rebuilding the cliches, okay? That's just a side comment. I'm gonna move on. I'm focusing on the story again. The story for you being like, you wanna be, what do you call it? The thing that really excites you is, oh, dude, this is amazing, this keyboard. I love this. And then now we need to get a moment into why you're selling it, right? But this like thing over here, like, why? So can you answer this for me? So you're around 13 years old and you started selling it. Like, what was the motivation behind selling it? 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 Like Why?
There's a feeling of getting value out of just items that would have never been used again in my house. Um, I feel like that stood out to me as a child.
But didn't you have to make these things to sell them? That's
Oh, you're
different
talking about the
from.
keyboards.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Why did you start making all these things?
I feel like it's really inexplicable. I do not want to be an engineer. That's not one of my career paths. And
What
people,
do
when
you
they
want
read
to
this
be?
essay, they think I want to, planning on majoring in business, minor in bio.
Okay, so business minor in bio, and you know what? Inconsistencies in people's stories actually make them feel more realistic. People are not 100% like no one's built to be an engineer or built to be a business person from like every single thing they do is only business related since they're like 12 years old. That's insane. Okay, that's only a robot. So having inconsistencies is actually more believable than just having, having like literally one idea dominate your whole life. But leaning into that, like, I mean, this is clearly connected to like selling things and the joy of selling things. Like previously you were selling things that you just found. Now you're selling things and you have to actually make it. What made you want to sell it so much that you would be willing to make it just to sell it?
Um, at first it was a hobby, just making them for myself. And I guess that ties back into,
Oh,
um,
you weren't even selling it at first. You actually
no,
had
it wasn't like a business idea.
at some point you had like
It
five
came
or six or
gradually.
seven and around just scattered around your house, maybe three or four to be realistic, right? Maybe you had three or four just scattered around your house and you were like, wait, I could sell some of this.
Oh yeah, of the keyboards, yeah. Because I couldn't use all of them at once. So.
That could be a funny story, by the way. Like that could be a funny line. I mean, if you couldn't use them all at once, and that means okay, we don't have too much time, so I'm gonna back off on the biographical detail, but just one last question. What is something you're doing now, or what is something that is pertinent now about you, your 17-year-old self, or however old you are, that has changed thanks to this experience? Okay? How have you been changed or influenced thanks to this experience from 4 or 5 years ago?
Just from the sheer commitment I've put into it, I feel like. Um, I try to. Well, there's been no week where I haven't done something with my own business. So I feel like it's like added a new identity to who I am.
This thing, you're running a successful Shopify business even to this day.
Um,
Successful, quote unquote. Like
yeah, yeah.
depends on how you define successful. Okay, um, okay, that's good enough. I was earlier going to pitch the achronological idea. We have about 5 minutes left, so I just want to wrap up with giving you at least a mock-up of what this could look like. Okay, so let me just do the work real quick. I'll be basically silent for the next 4 minutes, just working on this. Okay, let me see what I can do. You know what? So for everyone on stream, you're not gonna be able to see this as well, but I'm just gonna, I just need to zoom out, and I need to be able to read this properly. I'm gonna be silent. Give me a sec. dude, these are just two different episodes. Okay. I'm just thinking, oh my god. Okay, like I would actually just shorten these, but that's a whole job. That's a whole lot job. But okay, I think I'm gonna keep the chronology for now. One became two, became two, two became four. Four is not quite. Bad joke, but I'm just moving on. Now, this is actually a very cheesy combination, but I want you to at least, a cheesy and very straightforward combination, but I want you to see how this flows, so I'm just going to... So I'm just going to write it in the most obvious high schooly way, okay? We like in future iterations, you can make it a little bit more sophisticated. I realized I could take my two interests, combine them into one. I could sell these. Personalized expressions. An extension. Avatars, characters, whatever, characters. They're decked out. Okay, I'm just writing all this stuff for you because I want you to see maybe this is not necessarily gonna be true to your experience, okay, but I'm just giving you a shape of the story right now so I'm not saying just use these words. I'm saying take this as a template for how this story could be shaped. I'm giving it a little bit of structure. I'm giving it a skeleton here. So here, you're only focusing on the potential. Oh, I could sell it. And now I want to get into the process. Like, where's the process? We could skip all this for the conclusion. I'm going to just paste it somewhere down here. Okay. Oops, what happened? I want to get into the process. Actually, one thing that would make this process more interesting is having problems. Share the delight of the process. Even share some challenges and how you overcame. And then I would delete almost all of this. So this part is probably the process over here.
Could I add something?
Yep.
So the people who've edited my essay so far have noticed this one line in the last paragraph.
Okay, I will come back to that. I'll come back to that in just a second because actually, there's a strong chance in my version, I'm going to delete a lot of this. I have part-time and energy to customers and unique energy. Like, this is part of the process, I guess, but now this is since last year, so I don't know. I think this could get too technical, but for now, it's okay to write a very long, like 800, 1,000 word version where you just detail the full process. Over here, you detail the full process from when you were 14 all the way to 17, and just write all of it, and then see which parts shine, and then stick with those only. Okay. what do you want to say about this one sentence? I'm actually over 30 minutes already, but I'll just finish this off. What's this one sentence that you're worrying about?
Um, the editors of my essay have so far said that this is a idea I should push further because I think it's the readers will
Yeah,
like
you
it.
definitely don't want to push it in the conclusion. You want to push it, and in fact, if anything, I wouldn't even push it. I would say detail the process. Once you detail the process, it will become clearer how this sentence needs to be edited in order to match what you detailed in the process. So when you are sharing your delight, right, over here, you're talking about delight here. When you're talking about enjoyable here, you're talking about memorable here, right? Well, just write something that matches. Oops. Write something that matches. Okay. In the process, in the over here, starting from here to here, you want to have all of this build up, and then this one sentence can be the climax. Oops, this one sentence can become the climax of all of that built up detail. Okay, but you need to write this part as excitedly as you wrote these parts. Okay, these first two parts over here, you're very clearly excited over here when you're writing them. Okay, and the details of like how you came to like sell these things, that needs to convey the same level, if not more, of excitement. And then when you have all that excitement here, then that will definitely make this sentence pay off. And once the sentence pays off, then you won't have to do any over explaining. Okay, you're going to be really tempted at the weaker this part is. Okay, I'm going to call this the process part. Okay, the weaker this process part is, the more you're going to want to overcompensate by making your conclusion super long and just explaining. None of that is going to help you. The more you explain your conclusion, the weaker your overall essay is going to get. So it's a trap. Don't fall into that trap. Just build up the process. Make sure the reader feels that same excitement, that same electricity that you're feeling. And then when you finally say this, they'll just be like, oh, I get it. And then you finish this conclusion in like one or two more sentences, and then you're done. You're out. Drop the mic. Peace out. You're not gonna say lingering. It's like, please clap. You're not gonna tell them, please clap. You're just gonna drop the fucking mic, leave. Okay? And so the only way you can do that is by giving them a kick-ass performance over here. Okay? Which is not gonna happen. You're never gonna have a kick-ass performance. You're never gonna have a kick-ass performance in the conclusion. So fix the part before that. It's not this part. All of these details, if there's any part of these details that you think was really important, okay, like a $30 mechanical keyboard thing, if this is an important detail, put it before the conclusion. Do not put it in the conclusion. It's too late. Does that make sense?
Yeah, got it.
All right, so that's my sort of rushed conclusion to everything. But yeah, it took me a while to just sort of figure out what would happen. I suspect that if you just flesh out that part, like I said, it will go over 650 words. Then you're going to need to start trimming down all the paragraphs. And I would strongly recommend trimming down the first two paragraphs, because this is actually not the main focus of your essay as far as I can tell. Okay, the first 2-3 paragraphs are actually about the setup, really. They're the exposition. They're not really the meat of your essay, even though you obviously clearly spent a lot of energy making those paragraphs really pop. All right, and that's my feedback for you, my diagnostic for you. Any questions? Any parts that you don't feel like you're understanding?
No, I definitely see what you're saying.
Okay, so
Yeah.
just to make sure that you are seeing what I am seeing, can you just summarize in your own words, what you think you should be doing?
Yeah, so I feel like I don't know if I have time to do the 1,000-word essay and then trim it down from there, because I still have to work on supplementals or whatnot. But from what I can tell, you want me to have the same level of the passion in the latter half of the essay as I did in the first, and then the conclusion will work for itself based on the passion I showed there. Well, that's
Yeah,
the
I think
general
that's a good
idea.
summary. I think that's a pretty good summary. Out of a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 is most confident and 0 is least confident, how confident are you that you're going to be able to do this, like, and sort of finalize your essay on your own in the next, I don't know, in the next week or two?
Probably seven or
Seven.
eight.
So what's keeping you from being like 9 or 10? Like what parts feel like difficult for you to do on your own?
As of right now, I don't. Um, I feel like it'd be hard to. I don't know. I just there's some feeling of not like full confidence. I can't really explain.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't know what's the thing that would be holding you back per se, but some guesses I can make is you might be scared about the 650 word limit, and you might be scared that you won't be able to come up with the same level of energy because you don't have as many details. But that seems the second one seems pretty easy to manage. The second one is almost certainly easier to be excited about because more recent. So I feel like it shouldn't be as hard once you actually start writing. Once you're flowing, once the details are starting to come out of you, then you should be able to write it. But when you are writing it, don't worry about the word limit at that time, because the more you worry about the word limit while you're trying to write, the more you're going to be blocking your own process, and then nothing will come out. And nothing coming out is worse than too much coming out. So I think, yeah, just forget about the. In fact, if anything, it might even help you to just delete when you are looking at it, just delete all this, right? So that you're not distracted by how long it looks, and then paste it back in afterwards, and then that might help you lift the block that's in your head, that's keeping you from coming up with all the details that you can come up with. Okay, it's
Oh
better
yeah,
to be embarrassed by how many good details you have and having to being forced to choose between the good details rather than to have no details at all.
right.
All right. If you could just sort of state in one sentence the one thing that stuck out to you most from today's session, what would that be?
Ooh, one sentence.
Yeah. You can't obviously summarize the whole. If you probably can't summarize the whole experience, but like one slice of today's session that like really stuck out to you, what would that be? It could be pretty random. It's fine. I'm just kind of curious what that is.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised that you saw like two different passions in it, and you wanted to split them up and build them together. When I saw it, it was just one whole process that I loved, like all together. But you made the distinction between the love of keyboards and the love of selling. So yeah, I think that was good.
As in, that was clarifying. It sounds like for you.
Yeah, I just never saw it that way.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad to be of help to you. You can always follow up with me on Discord. And I guess after this, I'll go back to YouTube chat and see if anyone wants to chat with me. And then I'll wrap up today's stream. If you are free to leave now. You can go wherever you want. But, and obviously you can ask me follow-up questions through DMs and in the Discord server. Anything else before I send you?
Yeah, man. I appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, I hope it helped. And I'm actually really curious what you end up doing with it. So even if you don't need more help, because you don't have to come to me for help, but if you just, I'd really love to just hear like, oh, this is what happened. Just like a quick update would be perfectly fine. I would love to hear that.
Sure, sure.
All right, Daniel, good luck and hope that helps.
Great, thank you.
All right, guys. On YouTube, I see some questions and sentences, but like I don't even know if you're still around, but I'll still answer them. Okay. Let's see. Can you please explain what the paid session is? So I'm doing this I'm doing this through Discord. So if you come to Discord, you can ask me more detailed questions. But I'll just give a quick general overview, guys. Essay editing is not my forte. Like it's not, or at least college applications and admissions consulting is not my forte. Okay, it's not my focus. It's not the thing that I'm trying to make myself famous for or anything like that. It's not. It's not even what I like. I don't really like admissions consulting, like looking up statistics for colleges and who got in and whatever. That's not what I like. I want to just dispel any potential confusion here. I am not going to be an admissions consultant ever. Okay, that's not what I'm going to do. I guess I should never say never, but still. However, I am happy to edit. I like writing, so I'm happy to edit for anybody who's interested in editing. So if you want me to do some quick edits like this, this was a 30-minute session. We pre-negotiated it as a 30-minute session where I'll be doing a diagnostic and feedback. I'm happy to offer the same services to anybody who needs them. It will be sort of limited because I am still primarily focusing on SAT, so I need to have my SAT work done, and so this is just me doing this on my free time. But if you want me to edit your essays for you, I can do that for you. And if you are okay with me streaming it on YouTube, then there will be a 50% discount for now. This is all subject to change later on when I blow up and become a super famous YouTuber. Just kidding. Not kidding. Not kidding. But it's all subject to change, so get me while I'm hot. Okay. And that's my general overview. Okay. T12 Z12. His grade in English was A+. Are you talking about me? I think you're talking about me. Yeah, it actually wasn't A+. So my English was actually not my strongest. In fact, in high school, I was salutatorian. How come that's so weird sounding? Salutatorian? Yeah, salutatorian is salutatorian. Anyway. So for me, I was salutatorian, and that meant I was not valedictorian because I had 1B, and my 1B came from an English class. So my English was was the thing that humbled me. It was a thorn in my side, but it was good. It was good. It's good not to be valedictorian, to not let all that fluff get to my head. Olamadata. I saw you in Discord, right? I don't currently recall the last interaction we had, but hey, what's up? Welcome to the stream. Pencuber, I've definitely seen you around though on YouTube, so good to have you here. All right, seems like no one else has any questions, so I'm about to wrap up. Guys, see you in the next stream. Until then, keep on learning, keep on growing. Peace out, guys.